Hello everyone, and welcome to the weekly vlog on the 131 diet. I am on week 1 technically. I'm gonna go with last week was week 0 or prep week, and this week is week 1. So the way that 131 works is it is a 12-week program, and it is 1 week of prep and then 3 weeks of testing essentially. So this is week 1 is Ignite, or this 3 weeks is Ignite, and then, or 4 weeks, sorry, prep week, and then the 3 testing weeks is Ignite. And right now I am cutting out inflammatory foods, and I'm going to read you a list, so forgive me for reading the list because I could just tell you off the top of my head, but I don't remember all of them all the time. So before I do so, I just want to qualify this with the 131 diet is awesome because it lets you choose what you want. So if you're like, hey, I can give up 2 or 3 of these, but there's no way I can go with all of them, then you get to decide what that is. And every time that you go through the 131, you can decide a little bit more, and you can see how that works with your body. So it does not have to be like a super shock to your system. It doesn't. Like, you can make it tailored to you. That's the beautiful thing about it. And there's been things that have taken me years to kind of cut out of my diet, and then now I'll eat them occasionally. So like one of the things that I tested this last year was caffeine, and or not caffeine specifically, but coffee specifically. And I used to have a cup of coffee every morning, and now I don't. I have tea because I'm actually I'm asthmatic, and it actually affects my asthma in a negative way. And a lot of times it doesn't. Like I said, this is a totally me thing, and that's why the 131 is awesome, is because you get to customize it to you and just you. And you know, for you, you're a bio-individual person, so you're you know, you could maybe tolerate dairy, or and whereas I can't. Like I don't have I'm not lactose intolerant, but my body does far better when I don't have dairy. So, and that is actually the majority of people. Sorry folks, but you might be one of the lucky ones. So I choose to limit my dairy intake, and also, like I said, caffeine. I still have caffeine. I still do, or coffee. I still do coffee here and there when I want it, but a lot of times I just do decaf if I want the flavor of it. But I also have really come to love teas. So that's just one example. So again, if you look at this list of inflammatory foods and you're just like, oh my God, there's no way I could cut all of that out and be okay with life, then you don't have to. So I apologize, I'm outside. I wanted to like get some of the natural lighting, and of course there are mosquitoes. So if you see me waving about, me trying not to get bit. So anyways, so let's proceed with the list. So the anti-inflammatory foods that you can eat are non-starchy vegetables, extra virgin olive oil, raw nuts and seeds, lemons, limes, herbs and spices, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, MCT oil. By the way, on the grass-fed, grass-finished beef, if you want to know what the difference between that is, they do actually explain that in 131 if you're wondering what the differences in meats are, if you eat meats, because you can totally do this if you are vegetarian or vegan. Bone broth, wild-caught salmon, whole eggs, berries, avocados, ghee, and unrefined coconut oil. So those are the anti-inflammatory foods that you want to increase in your diet, okay? Some of the maybes. And again, so remember I told you, like I said, caffeine or coffee for me is not great, but for you it might be totally fine. You might be fine. But the only way to find out is to cut it out of your diet and then add it back in. So some of the maybes, which, and you might be wondering why that they are on the anti-inflammatory list and on the maybe list, is because again, it's bio-individual. So the maybes are eggs, kombucha. I know, right? How many of you just love kombucha? So again, this is going to be one of those things where you decide for yourself, like whether that it's good for you or bad. It can actually be negatively impacting your gut health, and you have no idea. So that's one. Caffeine, which I did just talk about. Chocolate. Please say it ain't so. I have found that non-dairy chocolate, so made with like coconut milk or something like that, and dark, is like a fabulous treat for me. And it's not super sweet, but it is a treat, so it like tricks my brain into thinking I'm eating something fabulous. And I get them the chocolate bars, and I do like little squares of it, and only a couple when I feel a craving, instead of eating like, say, a candy bar. It's fabulous. So that's my trick. Vinegars could be bad for you. Dairy, yeah, it's a big one. Grains, and that's all grains, so like rice, all kinds of stuff, right? Stevia could be another one. Citrus fruits. So I know that some of you, I believe, is if you have, is it gallbladder or kidney stones? Anyways, a diet that does not include citrus fruits might be on your plate for that. So that's why that they're a maybe food. Coffee, just talked about that. Some nuts may be not okay. Obviously, if you have an allergy, you obviously know that. Carbonated beverages, because carbonated beverages can actually upset your stomach and your digestive system. Doesn't mean they do. Gour gum or xanthan gums, and that's in a lot of vegetarian and vegan foods. And it's a binder, and it, like I said, you could maybe be totally fine with this. And it's actually in some like milks, in some of the nut milks, so you kind of have to watch out for that, and you might be sensitive to it. Organic fermented soy, right? Because we always say like, oh, that's a good one, but maybe not. It might not be for you. Nightshade vegetables. Nightshade vegetables are peppers, tomatoes, things like that. You could be sensitive, may or may not be. And then we get to the, I am not going to eat these. This is the inflammatory things that we will not eat. In case you're wondering what that is, it is a mosquito trying to eat my phone. So this is what happens when you get, you know, live, or when you film live and don't do cuts. So, all right, guys, inflammatory foods that should be avoided due to their possibility of them being inflammatory are gluten, alcohol, grains, dairy, soy, peanuts, soda, fast food, fried foods, artificial colors or dyes, sugar and high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, vegetable oils, smoked, canned, or processed meat. So yes, that would include tuna, refined carbohydrates, jams, jellies, and syrups, high sugar content, hydrogenated oils. Those are always bad. Fruit beverages, not with 100% juice. However, fruit beverages in general are not great because they are so high in sugar that most of them are higher in sugar than sodas, which is insane. So like, it's not a healthy treat to give to your children or yourself. And conventionally raised animal foods, there's so many reasons why this is a terrible idea to eat. So I get that there's a money thing and everything else, but it's also your health. So again, and when I said that whole list of things you shouldn't eat, if you were having like a mental breakdown, remember what I said in the beginning, is that you don't have to do this whole list. You could do some of this list, okay? So like, if you're just like, that's way too overwhelming, I'm gonna pick two of these things to avoid. Gluten and dairy, and I'm gonna start this process with that. Totally fine, completely up to you. So so that's the technical part of this whole thing, right? The non-technical part of this whole thing is my experience with this. So I've been trying to get this video out, and due to some family issues and just lack of time and me trying to figure out my new schedule, because as some of you may know, if you watch my Instagram, I switched work schedules. So I'm trying to figure out that whole thing out while trying to work out every morning, you know, do my thing and get to work, and then, you know, get to bed a decent hour, because that I do work nights, so, or swing shift, so afternoon and tonight. Anyways, so this is something that I have learned, and even though we've learned it, does not mean we always implement. But if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, right? Now, if you are a rebel personality like I am, then planning and scheduling is not your forte, and you may actively avoid it because you may feel like that it crams your style and that it makes things no fun. Like, I'm totally that person. Like, I get you. However, over the years, and more recently because I wanted to have more time and freedom, energy, money, you know, all the things, right? I realized that if I planned and I scheduled things, then I actually had more of those things that I wanted, and I had more freedom to be spontaneous, because rebel personalities tend to be. And I really implemented it in a few ways in my life, and it was fabulous. That being said, I'm still working on that because it does not come naturally to me, and it may not come naturally to you. So what planning and scheduling looks like for 131 for me is, or for my health, not necessarily just the diet portion, is that I did plan to go to work out every morning at 8:30, and that gives me enough time to get home, shower, take care of my myriad of creatures here at the urban ranch, and then you know, get to work and go to work. So what I failed to do, and I put some time in there for it, but I've gotten sidetracked, is to meal prep. So meal prep is a huge, and if you want to know about meal prepping, I recommend that you just go on YouTube and search for it. And one of my very, very favorite channels is Mind Over Munch, and I'll put that in the comment section below so you can have it. And go on there, check out what meal prepping is. It's fabulous, fabulous. So I am running out of time, and I don't want to make this too long, so I just want to tell you guys that, and I will let you know how I do next week, because this week totally sucked. I spent more money than I wanted to because I didn't plan, and I ate things that were on the list that I should not have been eating. So I want to get much better, but that's what's awesome about the 131 is you can just jump right back on the horse if you fall off. And I intend to kind of fully immerse myself in that and jump back on the horse. So that's a little rundown of the no-no foods, the maybes, and the yes, eat a whole bunch of them. And on my Instagram, I will be probably posting a lot more about what specifically I'm eating, because they also do have recipes on there, and that is not a section of the site that I've really delved into, so I'm kind of excited about that. So I will let you guys know what I do, what the meal prepping looks like, and all that stuff. And I hope that you are having a fabulous week, and I will talk to you guys soon. And I will definitely post next week, but this is this week's video, and I hope that you are having a fabulous, fabulous day, and I will talk to you soon. Namaste.